Hi, everyone. My name is Helen Lerk, Executive Director of LA Mass, and I'm so excited to be your MC for tonight for the next 30 minutes. To begin, I want to acknowledge we're gathered on the ancestral land of the Tongva people who remain rooted here today. We honor their ongoing stewardship of this land and our shared responsibility to care for one another and the places we call home. Thank you all for being here. I think this is the largest Rooted we've ever had. I think there's over 200 of you. There's so many familiar faces and a lot of new ones. Who's here for the first time? Lots of newbies. So tonight's theme, and also our theme every year, is Rooted. It's also our tagline, keeping people, working class people rooted right here. For those who are just meeting us for the first time, LA Mass is a community-based organization working alongside working class communities in Northeast LA. We do everything we can to help people stay rooted in the communities they call home. One of my favorite things of this room is the mix of people here. We have residents, raise your hand, residents, allies, neighbors, funders. This work doesn't happen without funders. We also have people who work on housing issues, people who work in social justice, and I'm sure there's some people here who are just meeting us because you have a friend who invited you. We need each of you here because that's what makes our work possible. So tonight, I want us to kind of center on the question of our work. Everything that we do is trying to answer the question, how do we get people who have been in the neighborhoods in Northeast LA to be able to stay rooted here, to be able to stay here for the rest of their lives? So we do that in many ways. Sometimes we preserve housing, sometimes we support community vendors, sometimes it's community members who shape our priorities and how we spend our time. Sometimes it's community investors who are investing in our projects. There's a handful of inaugural community investors in this room. The question is always the same, different projects. So for example, take our housing work. We buy and preserve housing, and we keep it affordable forever for people to live there with permanent dignity, stability, and affordability. And with our partners, Self-Help Ventures Fund, we have unlocked $13 million in just the past 2 years. And in the next few weeks, when we close escrow, thank you for the patience of everyone, including our seller who's in this room, we will have closed on our 4th and 5th property, which means that we will have 54 units permanently off the market, supporting over 140 residents, doing it for less than $300,000 per unit. And the people who live in our buildings are not just residents. They help make decisions about how we govern. They help shape the properties that we're going to buy in the future. So this is an example of how we're keeping our residents rooted, and it's working. Take Somos NELA. Who has been to Somos NELA? Ooh, so many, but not enough. And you can come this Friday. Somos NELA started off as a pilot last year. We had a dozen vendors every Friday. We hosted a market, and we had people turn out. And now it's grown into a movement of over 120 vendors. We have our market the 1st and 3rd Friday every month. So come, 1st and 3rd Friday, and then we gave $50,000 back to the hands of our community vendors because all of you, neighbors and allies, came to show up. Our work, let's see, is Christine here? Our work requires all of the people in this room. So tonight we're so excited to honor 3 incredible leaders that make our work possible. So to start, I want to say that our work requires allies and resources to kind of shift where money should go and how we define success. And for Somos NELA, we needed a push last year. We needed an infusion of resources that was going to say, yes, I am going to support a local economy, a collective economy, a community economy. And I'm so excited to introduce our first honoree by way of bringing on stage someone who does that in her own work, building lasting relationships and the infrastructure to make change possible. So to help us introduce our first honoree, our Solidarity Award, please help me welcome Christine Margiata, ED of Social Justice Partners Level.
Hi, good evening, everyone. So the Solidarity Award recognizes someone who has consistently shown up for social justice community, and we all know Chris Coe is that person. I've had the privilege of working with Chris for over 15 years, and he embodies solidarity to his core. Working with Chris is to be seen, to be known, and to be held in his care. If you've met Chris, I feel certain he has held your hand, either figuratively or possibly literally. Chris cares deeply for Los Angeles and all of the people in it. From COVID to wildfires to housing justice to ICE raids, Chris makes sure community work is resourced and supported. He created the Shared Prosperity Fund, which made Somos NELA possible. That funding strengthened relationships across our food justice ecosystem and laid the groundwork for what Somos NELA has become. I've seen Chris play that role over and over again. He pays attention to what people are building, and he finds a way to help good ideas get the support that they need. Chris is the heart of philanthropy in LA, and we are so, so lucky to have him here. It is my honor to present the Solidarity Award to Chris Coe.
The next time you drive by somebody living up on the bridge, and the next time you want to complain.
Thank you, Christine. It's beautiful. I look forward to holding all of your hands after this. To be honored in any way is flattering, but to be honored by friends, people you genuinely respect, and by mentors is humbling, and it is healing. When Helen called me about this award, you know, when you are a funder, you start getting these awards because you're in a position to give back in a practical, helpful way, especially for fundraisers. When I lost my job, I was not in that position anymore. And when Helen called me about this award, I honestly felt a little insecure about that and sad that they would waste this award on someone in my position. And so I told Helen that. And she said, no, you know, we're choosing affiliation or not to honor you. And at the heart of solidarity, like Christine mentioned, is the desire to be with someone. And I just want to thank you and the community for being with me in a very real way. So if you're a partner of LA if you're a member of LA know that this is a community that is not trying to get something from you, that they are with you in a genuine and sincere way, which I think powers so much of what we do. You know, when I was growing up, as an immigrant, we would farm with fellow immigrants I don't know if that's my daughter. We would farm with fellow immigrants for produce we couldn't find or afford, and we thought we were doing just to make it. And then now, as my incredible wife, who actually works for Rudy, and our newborn daughter, as we raised her together, I realized, no, this is not something we're doing just to make it. This is something that is the best of life, to be in deep relationship with one another, to be for one another. And so I just want to thank you all for forming that community together. I wanted to thank the host committee, the incredible team at LA Moss for supporting this incredible organization. And a special thank you, honestly, to the sponsors of this event who gave back to this incredible organization in a way that I could not, and that this organization so deserves. Thank you for supporting on all of our behalf. When you look at the life of people who are rich and have a lot of means, I've gotten to be part of programs to go to nice hotels and other things like that. And when you're there, you realize what all that buys you is what we already have. People know your name. People know your birthday. They know your preferences. It is the feeling of being known and being seen. And it is something, an opportunity we have to give that to one another every single day. So may we continue to create communities of love and support in every single community across LA. Thank you. Love you.
To communities and support. To help us share a little bit about our housing work, I want to introduce Dario Herrera with Clock Shop, who's going to share a little bit about the animated film you're about to watch. It's going to be the best animated film you'll ever watch, so don't move. And come inside if you're outside.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Dario. I'm here on behalf of Clock Shop. I'm joined by Sue, our executive director here. Clock Shop, and those of you who don't know, we're an arts and culture and environmental justice nonprofit. We work alongside really closely with Más. We're next door neighbors. We're actually in the same building. Sometimes I feel like we share joint custody of me. But at Clock Shop, we've been working on this oral history project called Take Me to Your River. For the past 3 years, we've interviewed about 80 residents, artists, community members who live in the 4 neighborhoods of Glassell Park, Cypress Park, Elysian Valley, and Atwater Village. We've been able to work really closely with one neighbor in particular, Andres. I don't know if Andres is here. Maybe he's outside with his baby and Claire. The short animation you're going to see today is a recounting of a very chance encounter between Andres and Betty Avila, who's one of the board members here at Más. I saw Betty earlier. She's here. And again, I think it speaks to the running theme of today's evening, which is just community and building connections and overall leveraging those connections to what you will see at the end of this film, which is actually Más' first acquisition art deal. Thank you. I hope you enjoy.
And there's plenty of space up here, so come on up so you can see the film. Share. Andres and Claire had a baby, Felix, just hanging out there. We call him our Más baby. And they will say that housing stability made him possible. We'll take it. We also purchased 2 more properties and took it off the market last year. And none of that would happen without the partners willing to invest in a different approach to housing. One where residents help make decisions. One where we can move at the pace of private landlords. And one where we can keep working class residents housed in their homes forever. Our next honoree helped make RVO possible, providing a $250,000 grant for that investment. And now they stepped up again and are giving us a $250,000 loan so that we can close escrow on our 4th and 5th property, which will happen in the next 2-3 weeks. We will proudly maybe be the first loan that the LA Los Angeles Solutions, La Casa, the LA County Affordable Housing Solutions Agency, might ever make. So that means we're the guinea pig. Wish us luck. And when that happens, that means we will have unlocked $8 million. Over 75 residents will have permanent housing affordability, stability, and dignity. And that would not be possible without supporters. So please help me welcome Carly Goldblatt to the stage with HelpNet, a leading funder also in housing innovation, to introduce our housing awardee.
Good evening, everyone. Tonight, I am pleased to recognize Jenna Hornstock of LA for LA. A housing advocate, strategist, dedicated mother, and yoga enthusiast. I have seen firsthand how Jenna brings strategic innovation to the complex work of developing housing solutions for some of our most vulnerable community members. She understands that housing is complicated, but she never loses sight of the people at the center of it. HealthNet has been a proud partner with LA for LA to invest in affordable housing solutions that reflect the same spirit and purpose as LA Moss's work. Jenna and LA for LA have shown up for LA Moss from day one. They were the final investors in LA Moss's first project, and they stepped up again for the largest acquisition LA Moss has ever taken on. That is not luck. It is Jenna recognizing where a strategic investment can unlock something bigger. Because of her leadership, LA Moss has helped build something new, a real movement for community housing in Los Angeles. It is my honor to present the Housing Award to Jenna Ornstock.
Talking about people.
Right. All right, well, I'm a little more formal than Chris. I have to read my notes. So first of all, thank you, Carly, for that kind introduction. And Ellie Moss, thank you so much for this honor. I just want to say a few quick things about LA for LA because we're kind of new. We're a philanthropic effort. That's part of the reason I'm standing up here tonight. We're a partnership that brings philanthropy, the private and public sectors together to innovate in how housing is financed and delivered. And we are looking for solutions that are innovative, practical, meaningful, and scalable, which is why investing in LA Moss was a pretty easy decision for us to make twice now. And I also want to recognize our executive director, Sarah Dussault, for her leadership in this work, supporting LA Moss and all that we get to do. LA Moss has its roots deep in the community that you serve, and you seek to deliver what this community tells you that they want and need to realize a healthy, stable, and thriving life. And LA for LA supports your efforts wholly, and we want to see you continue to succeed and scale up your housing solutions. Beyond my work with LA for LA, I am honored and grateful that I've been able to show up and support LA Moss throughout my personal and professional life. For many of us, the thought of tackling the challenges in our city and our country, it feels pretty overwhelming these days. There's growing wealth inequality, displacement pressures, there's a lack of access to quality health care, and now at the national level, there's a continual, intentional, and increasingly harmful effort to inflict cruelty, just outright cruelty, to our immigrants, to people of color, and to our low-income communities. So I know a lot of us wonder, what can we really do to effectuate the change that we want to see and create a world where people are liberated and thriving? In his book, How to Become an Anti-Racist, Ibram Kendi talked about what it means to be an activist. He says that an activist uses their power to effectuate change. Over the past decade or so, since I first learned about LA Moss and met the amazing Helen Murray, I know. This organization has allowed me to show up with whatever power I can wrangle, whether it was through my work with a whole bunch of public agencies, through my professional and personal relationships, through my very, very nerdy housing technical skills, or just through showing up with general support and offering a listening ear and some advice. LA Moss has given me a way to use my specific talents to push for the change that I want to see in this community that I call home. That in itself is a gift and an honor. So this sweet recognition today is like the rainbow sprinkles on top of an already very delicious cup of my favorite ice cream. You are all here supporting LA Moss tonight, which makes you a part of community that uses its power to effectuate change. So with our combined gifts and talents, we can continue to bring light and joy and remind our city and maybe our country that there's a path that lifts up everyone in community. So keep at it, everybody. Thank you.
To help us wrap our program, we are going to introduce our last and final honoree. And who I'm going to bring on stage is someone who probably doesn't need an introduction. Someone who, like our honoree, is a champion for financial justice, for social justice, for community development that invests in communities that often don't get that. Tanua Thrush Intook is the president and CEO of the Center at London Street, also city council member for City of Long Beach. Please help me welcome Tanua on stage.
All right. So thank you so much. I want you all to give it up for Helen for bringing us all here tonight for this amazing event. I was telling someone, I said, you know, part of why these events are so great is because we see so many family and friends who are part of this movement that we call community development to make our communities what we know that they're capable of being. So tonight I have the pleasure of being able to award and introduce the final honoree, a friend and a colleague and someone who I have stood shoulder to shoulder with in this movement. So my work at the Center by Linda Street and my work in the city of Long Beach are about the same thing, the same things that LA Más fights for. And that's ensuring that our communities not only have a chance to thrive, but they are able to go above and beyond. That means fighting for investment, so I loved hearing about all the investment that LA Más has coming. That means standing with our immigrant communities, because this is both a Black and brown issue. It means pushing for policies and creating real opportunities for people in our community. And that is why we are honoring tonight Rudy Espinosa of Inclusive Action for the City. Round of applause. I'm not done, Mr. DJ. You see, 15 years ago, Rudy started Inclusive Action for the City, and I was there, and it had a whole nother name. For those of you who know it was called Learn at the time. He has fought alongside so many of you to ensure that street vendors have access to opportunity. He's ensured that immigrant entrepreneurs are not left behind and that small businesses have access to the resources and protection they need and deserve. I understand that LA Más has felt that partnership directly when Rudy's team ran financial training for Somos NELA vendors, sharing strategies on cash assistance and helping them think about community ownership. This happens from the ground up. One of the other things that I will say that I appreciate about Rudy is that, like me, he is not afraid to say what our communities deserve to have said in all spaces and places. So with that, I look forward to and thank you all for honoring tonight our friend, our brother, Rudy Espinosa.
And I think of the future. Time is straight and run out.
Thank you so much, Tanua. Man, it's so special to be introduced by Tanua. Thank you so much, Helen and the LA Más team for this honor. Friends, I didn't prepare a speech, but I have a story to tell you. Yesterday, I was talking to a good friend of mine, and I was sharing, oh, hey, Amanda, how are you? I was sharing with them how I feel tired. It's been a long week. It's been a long month. I'm sure everybody knows here that there's been a fire in the neighborhood in which our office is located. There's been a lot of drama all over this country. There's been a lot of drama here in LA. And, I was sharing with this friend that I feel tired. And the friend tells me, you don't have to work that hard. You know that you can choose not to do that work. And I've been thinking about that all day. And I'm sure because of this crowd here, you all take on things that maybe you don't have to. And I've been thinking about why the team at Inclusive Action takes on the things that we take on. Why were we stretching? Why we set up a fund 2 weeks ago to support small businesses impacted by the fire? Why we're hosting a funder briefing within a few days' notice? I'm looking at Marco, my colleague Marco there. We are stretching all the time. And I think that as the answer is coming to me, we stretch and we do this work. We choose to do this work because we still believe that justice is possible. We still believe that the future that we all deserve is within reach. But friends, it's not, we have to change the status quo. We have to take risks. We have to take on projects that are very difficult. We have to take on political projects. We have to buy buildings before the community residents are displaced, just like LA Moss is. We have to take on difficult projects. There's no other way to get to that future that we all deserve. And so I just want to thank you, Helen, because one of the things, in addition to taking on difficult projects, we also have to be vulnerable enough to come together. And Helen models this. The team at LA Moss models this. They are always reaching out to support others, and that's the type of dynamic that we need to get to that future that we all deserve. So thank you very much for this honor, and have a good time. Thank you, Helen.
Thank you, Rudy. To all our honorees, we need a community, we need love, we need to share our power, we need to do the work together. So thank you for showing up. Thank you for showing up to LA Moss. Thank you for investing in a different way of doing things, for believing that residents should stay rooted, for helping our vendors earn more money, for just believing that this community can and should exist together. So this is the end of our program. I'm sparing you a live pledge from Miguel Ramos, but if you want to get one of those Somos NELA t-shirts, please consider being a monthly donor. Come to Somos NELA this Friday. Come to our block party. Stay involved. Meet someone new. Before I close the program, we have another hour of drinks and good food and good company. Big thanks to our leading sponsors, Metabolic Studio, Kaiser Permanente Foundation, Lion Ideas. Our work is not possible also without our incredible team. So please come up. Miguel, Melly, Ronnie, our board of directors, our community governance committee. We are kept accountable to the communities we serve. And it's not possible without all of us. So thank you for being here. Please enjoy, and let's get back to the party. What, we got an hour left.